Chapter 6. HTML5, Forms, Media and CSS Styling. HTML, Hypertext Markup Language, is a language in which we can make web pages on the internet and view them using a web browser. HTML documents are made up of text content and special codes known as tags that tell web browsers how to display the content. In our previous class, we have learnt about creating, formatting, linking and adding images and tables in web page using HTML5 language. In this chapter, we will move ahead and learn more about HTML5 like adding forms, multimedia and CSS to web pages. Adding multimedia. Multimedia elements can be added into HTML pages to illustrate a product or service. We can deliver multimedia files to website visitors in several ways. Whenever possible, we should use small files as larger files take a long time to transfer to a computer. HTML5 features include native audio and video support without the need for Flash. The HTML5 audio and video tags make it simple to add media to a website. We need to set src attribute to identify the media source and include controls attribute so the user can play and pause the media. Embedding audio. HTML5 supports audio tag which is used to embed sound content in an HTML document. Let's learn to embed audio. Step 1. Type with the location or name of the sound file. Step 2. Press the spacebar key and type autoplay controls. Step 3. Type. The web browser displays the music controls and starts playing the audio song as we have given autoplay option. In some browsers, we need to click on play button to start the audio. Embedding video. HTML5 supports video tag which is used to embed video content in an HTML document. Let's learn to embed video. Step 1. Type with the location or name of the video file. Step 2. Type with the width measurement to set for video player. Step 3. Give a space by pressing the spacebar key. Step 4. Type with the height measurement to set for video player. Step 5. Press the spacebar key and type. Step 6. Type. The web browser displays the video and starts playing it as we have given autoplay option. In some browsers, we need to click on play button to start the video. When we place our mouse pointer on the video, controls will appear. Input control. And is input control a type of input mechanism on a form? A form may contain several different types of input controls classified as data or text input controls. A data input control can be a radio button, a checkbox, a submit button, a reset button, and or a selection menu. A text input control allows the user to enter text through a text box, text for small amount of text, a text area box, text area for large amount of text, and or a password text box, password for entering a password. A text control creates a text box that is used for a single line of input. The text control has two attributes, size, which determines the number of characters that are displayed on the form, and the other is max length, which specifies the maximum length of the input field. Fact GPT. A password control also creates a text box used for a single line of input, except that the characters entered into the field can appear as asterisks or bullets. A password text box holds the password entered by a visitor. A radio control limits the web page visitor to only one choice from a list of choices. Each choice is preceded by a radio or option button, which typically appears as a circle. A checkbox control allows a web page visitor to select more than one choice from a list of choices. Each choice in a checkbox list can be either on or off. By default, all checkboxes are deselected. A select control creates a selection menu from which the visitor selects one or more choices. This prevents the visitor from having to type information into a text or text area field. A text area control creates a field that allows multiple lines of input. Text area fields are useful when detailed input is required from or desired by a web page visitor. The Submit button sends the information to the appropriate location for processing. A web page form must include a Submit button. The Reset button clears any input that was entered in the form, resetting the input controls back to the default. A web page form must also include a Reset button. Creating forms. We can use forms to collect information from the people who visit our website. A form has input fields for users to enter information and limits choices to valid options to avoid incorrect data entry. Forms provide an easy way to collect required information. There are three important parts of web page forms. Form tag. Form input elements. Submit button. While designing a form, we write HTML to define the different objects that allow users to type or select information. These objects can include text fields, radio buttons, checkboxes, and other options. All forms should include a Submit button for sending the data to a web server for processing. Setting up a form. We must set up a form before adding any information to it. To set up a form, we need to specify two important information, i.e., method and action property of form tag. Method property tells the form how to transfer the data to the form processor, which is our CGI script or our email address. We can assign either of the two values to the method property. Get. If the method property of form is set to get, then the data in the form is given to the form processor in the form of an environment variable, query string. If no method property is given in form tag, the default property is set to get. Post. If the method property of form is set to post, then the data in the form is given to the form processor as the standard input to the program. Action property of the form tag tells what action the form should take when the user presses the Submit button. Let's learn to set up a form. Step 1. Type to appear on the web page. Then press spacebar key. Step 2. Type with the location of our CGI script on our web server that will process the information submitted by our form. Or if we like to get the information to our email address, type with our email address. If we want to receive the information as text in our email, type in the form tag. Step 3. Type to complete the form. Creating a text box. We can create a text box that allows readers to enter a line of text. Text boxes are used for entering names and addresses. Let's learn to create a text box. Step 1. Between the form tag, type the text to appear beside the text box. Then press spacebar key. Step 2. Type and then press the spacebar key. Step 3. Type with word that describes the text box. Then press the spacebar key. Step 4. To define the width of the text box, type with the width to use for the text box. Step 5. If we need to define the maximum number of characters that visitor can enter in a text box, type with the maximum number of characters. Step 6. Type to complete the text box. The web browser displays the text box. Creating a password box. We can create a password box that allows readers to enter confidential or secret information such as credit card number or password. It differs from standard text box in a manner that when a user types in any character, an asterisk or a bullet appears for each character typed on screen to prevent others from reading the information. Fact GPT. A default text value appears in the text box when the user views the form. We can use default values to display instructions about the type of data required, give users an example of the data we are looking for, or show a popular choice or response. To specify a default, we can add the value attribute to the input tag, for example. Let's learn to create a password box. Step 1. Between the and form tag, type the text to appear beside the password box and then press spacebar key. Step 2. Type and then press the spacebar key. Step 3. Type with a word that describes the password box and then press the spacebar key. Step 4. To define the width of the password box, type with the width for the characters to have. Step 5. To define the maximum number of characters that a visitor can enter in a password box, type with the maximum number of characters. Step 6. Type to complete the text box. The web browser displays the password box. When a user types characters in the password box, a bullet or an asterisk appears for each character in the password box on screen. Creating a large text area. We can create a large text area that allows visitors to enter several lines of text. It is generally used for getting comments or feedback from the visitors. Let's learn to create a large text area. Step 1. Between the and form tag, type the text to appear beside or above the text area and then press the spacebar key. Step 2. Type and then press the spacebar key. Step 3. Type with a word that describes the text area. Then press the spacebar key. Step 4. Type with the height for the text area. Then press the spacebar key. Step 5. Type with the width for the text area. Then press the spacebar key. Step 6. Type if we want to have the text that visitor types automatically wrapped within the text area. Step 7. Type to complete the text area and skip step 4 if we do not want other checkbox to be selected. The web browser displays the text area. Creating checkboxes. We can include checkboxes in a form if we want visitors to select one or more options. While creating checkboxes, we need to specify the following information as word that describes the group of checkboxes by using the name attribute. A word that describes each checkbox by using the value attribute. Text to appear beside each checkbox on the web page. Let's learn to create checkboxes. Step 1. Between the form tag, type and then press the spacebar key. Step 2. Type with a word that describes the group of checkboxes to create and then press the spacebar key. Step 3. To specify the information for one checkbox, type with a word that describes the checkbox. Step 4. To select the checkbox automatically, press the spacebar key and then type checked. Step 5. Type to complete the checkbox. Step 6. Type the text to appear beside the checkbox on the web page. Step 7. Repeat steps 1 to 6 for each checkbox to create and skip step 4 to avoid other checkboxes. The web browser displays the checkboxes. Creating radio buttons. We can include radio buttons in a form if we want visitors to select only one of the several options. While creating radio buttons, we need to specify the following information. A word that describes the group of radio buttons by using the name attribute. A word that describes each radio button by using the value attribute. Text to appear beside each radio button on the web page. Let's learn to create radio buttons. Step 1. Between the form tag type. And then press the spacebar key. Step 2. Type. With a word that describes the group of radio buttons to create. Then press the spacebar key. Step 3. To specify the information for one radio button, type. With a word that describes radio button. Step 4. To select the radio button automatically, press the spacebar key and then type checked. Step 5. Type to complete the radio button. Step 6. Type the text to appear beside the radio button on the web page. Step 7. Repeat steps 1 to 6 for each radio button to create. The web browser displays the radio buttons. Fact GPT. When radio buttons have different name attributes, the browser treats them as different radio button sets. This means the user is able to turn on more than one of them at a time by clicking. Make sure all the radio buttons in a set have the same name attribute to avoid this. We can use the checked attribute to show one radio button in the group as selected by default. Creating a submit button. We can create a submit button that visitors can click to send the information they entered in our form to our web server or our email. Let's learn to create a submit button. Step 1. Between the form tag type. Then press the spacebar key. Step 2. Type. With the text to appear on the submit button. The web browser displays the submit button. When the user clicks the submit button, the data in the form is processed and sent to the destination specified in the form tag. Creating a reset button. We can create a reset button that visitors can click to clear the information they entered in our form. Let's learn to create a reset button. Step 1. Between the form tag and type. Then press the spacebar key. Step 2. Type. With the text to appear on the reset button. The web browser displays the reset button. When the user clicks the reset button, the form is reset to its original setting. Cascading style sheets, CSS. In HTML, we use tags to alter the style of a web page. Altering the style of individual elements on a web page is an easy web development technique to use. With large websites, however, it is better to use cascading style sheets to change the style of the web page elements. With CSS, we write code that allows us to control an element within a single web page or throughout an entire website. For example, changing a heading color in a website that contains multiple pages is much easier to do using a CSS instead of changing the individual headings. Fact GPT. The audio tag supports MP4, WebM and OGG, while the video tag supports MP4, WebM and OGG. A style sheet is usually a text file style sheet that is separate from our HTML document. It can also be internal, residing within our HTML code, which holds formatting codes that control our web page appearance. We can use style sheet to change the look of any web page element such as paragraphs, lists, backgrounds, and more. Whenever we need to apply the formatting from an external style sheet to an HTML document, we can attach the style sheet to the page using a link tag. Style sheet files have a .css file extension. We can link every page in our website to a single style sheet. Any changes made to the style sheet formatting are reflected in every HTML document linked to the sheet. By storing all the formatting information in one place, we can easily update the appearance of the web pages of our site in one single action. Style sheets are made up of rules, and each rule has two distinct parts, a selector and a declaration. The selector specifies the element to which we want to apply a style rule, and the declaration specifies the formatting for the selector. For example, in the style rule H2 color, red, the selector is H2 and color, red is the declaration. When applied to a page, this rule will make all level 2 headings appear in red. Fact GPT. Div tag is used for defining a section of our document. With this tag, we can group a large section of HTML elements together and format them with CSS. The div tag also allows us to define characteristics for several types of elements at once. For example, the div tag can be used to center headings and paragraphs at the same time. Inline, internal and external style sheet. We can connect an HTML document to an inline, internal and external style sheet. Inline style sheet is used to apply a unique style to a single HTML element. It uses the style attribute of an HTML element. E.g., it sets the text color of the H1 element to green. Internal style sheets exist within an HTML page between head tag, while external style sheets are separate files. External style sheets are useful as we can link them to more than one HTML document. Internal style sheet. An internal style sheet is used to define a style for a single HTML page. We can create an internal style sheet that resides within the head tag of HTML5 document. The styles of an internal style sheet are defined by style tags and apply only to the HTML in that document. Fact GPT. If we want to display default text in a text area and do not want users to move or edit the text, we can use the read-only attribute. Let's learn to apply style to the web page. Step 1. On the web page, type between and head tag to use a style sheet. Step 2. Type a tag to define characteristics for. We can define characteristics for tags such as H1, H1 headings, P paragraphs, and B bold text. Step 3. Type and write the characteristics for the tag. Step 4. Type to end the characteristics for the tag. Enter characteristics for the tag between the curly brackets. A semicolon must separate each characteristic. Step 5. Repeat steps 2 to 4 for each tag to define characteristics for. Step 6. Type to complete the style sheet. External style sheet. We can use an external style sheet to define formatting and layout instructions and then link it to more than one HTML document. We can save the style sheet as a text file and assign the .css file extension. We can link to a style sheet to assign a set of formatting rules to HTML document. We can also link multiple documents to the same style sheet to give all the pages in site a consistent look. The link tag is used for linking current document to multiple documents. Let's learn to set up a style sheet for multiple web pages. Step 1. Create a new document in a text editor. Step 2. Perform steps 2 to 5 of the section of previous page, internal style sheet, to set up the information for style sheet. Step 3. Click on File menu. Step 4. Click on Save or press Ctrl+S. The Save As dialog box appears. Step 5. Navigate to the folder that contains HTML pages. Step 6. Type a unique file name for the style sheet with a .css extension. In this example, we have given the name as stylesheet.css. Step 7. Click on Save. Text editor saves the new style sheet. Let's learn to add link to a style sheet. Step 1. Type between the head tag, then press the spacebar key. Step 2. Type with the name or location of the style sheet. The web browser displays the style specified for the web page. Indenting text through CSS. An indent is the space between the margin and the text. The indent feature is often used to set a first-line indent for paragraphs. We can indent the first line of all the paragraphs of the text on our web page that uses textIndent property in style sheet. Let's learn to indent text through CSS. Step 1. To indent the first line of all the paragraphs of the text that uses a specific tag, position the cursor between the brackets for the tag. Step 2. Type textIndent and then press the spacebar key. Step 3. Type the amount of space for the indent as a percentage of the window, example 20% or 30%, or in pixels, example 20px or 30px. The first line of all the paragraphs in the text that uses the tag is indented by the web browser. Changing margin through CSS. Margin is the amount of space that appears around an element. It can be set for any web page element with the margin property, which can accept 4 values for the top, right, bottom and left edges. We can include 2 values as an alternative to 4 values. These 2 values set the top and bottom margins to the first value and the right and left margins to the second value. The values can be measured in pixels, px, or as a percentage of the window. Let's learn to change margin through CSS. Step 1. To change the margin for every element that uses a specific tag, position the cursor between the brackets for the tag. Step 2. Type margin ? Replacing question mark with the required margin to change left, right, top or bottom, and then press the spacebar key. Step 3. Type the amount of space for the margins in pixels. Example 40px. Every element that uses the tag with the margin specified is displayed in the web browser. Changing margin using div tag. If 3 values are included, the top edge gets the first value, the left and right edges get the second value, and the bottom edge gets the third value. If only one value is listed for the margin property, this value is applied equally to all 4 edges. Let's learn to change margin using div tag. Step 1. Add the margin style property in div. Step 2. Set the margin property by assigning values to top, right, bottom and left margins. Step 3. Type in front of the text to display as a margin. Step 4. Type after the text to display as a margin. The first paragraph now has margins on each side. Recapitulate. The HTML5 audio and video tags make it simple to add media to a website. An input control is a type of input mechanism on a form. A form may contain several different types of input controls classified as data or text input controls. A data input control can be a radio button, a checkbox, a submit button, a reset button, and/or a selection menu. A text input control allows the user to enter text through a text box, a text area box, and/or a password text box. Forms provide an easy way to collect required information. There are 3 important parts of web page forms: form tag, form input elements and submit button. We must set up a form before adding any information to it. To set up a form, we need to specify two important information, i.e., method and action property of form tag. We can create a password box that allows readers to enter confidential or secret information such as credit card number or password. With cascading style sheets, CSS, we write code that allows us to control an element within a single web page or throughout an entire website. A style sheet is usually a text file that is separate from our HTML document. It can also be internal, residing within our HTML code, which holds formatting codes that control our web page appearance. Style sheets are made up of rules, and each rule has two distinct parts, a selector and a declaration. We can connect an HTML document to an inline, internal and external style sheet. Gloss GPT. Radio control, a data input control which limits the web page visitor to only one choice from a list of choices. Checkbox control, a data input control which allows a web page visitor to select more than one choice from a list of choices. Select control, a data input control which creates a selection menu from which the visitor selects one or more choices. Text area control, a text input control which creates a field that allows multiple lines of input. Submit button, a data input control which gives information to the appropriate location for processing. Reset button, a data input control which clears any input that was entered in the form, resetting the input controls back to the default. Form, input fields for users to enter information and limits choices to valid options to avoid incorrect data entry. Indent, the space between the margin and the text. Margin, the amount of space that appears around an element.